The film, The Many Saints of Newark, we talked about it with Ray Liotta last week, and now we're going to talk about it with the man who plays the role of Junior Soprano in the much-anticipated prequel to David Chase's groundbreaking drama series on HBO, The Sopranos, and The Many Saints of Newark, available in theaters on HBO Max on October 1st. I'm also enjoying this man's work immensely on Billions on Showtime, where he plays the role of Mike Prince. He is the actor Corey Stoll. How are you, Corey?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am doing better for talking to you. My gosh, how does one prepare to play Uncle June, in this prequel? Walk me through that one, Corey Stoll.
Well, I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches in terms of the source material. The task was to play this very beloved, very recognizable by the fans, this character, and so I watched the show. This was when I was cast, I had seen it every episode twice, and so I sat back and quickly binged through a third time. But really focusing in on Dominic Cunese's amazing performance, and just I was trying to get as much as I could, but by the time you show up on set, try to be so sort of bathed in his cadences and rhythms and physicality that I'm not really thinking about those choices. I'm just trying to be, not just a caricature, but
sure,
an extension of the role.
Well, it's interesting, Corey. Many people, when I say I have to watch football for a living on a Sunday, hey, I have to watch The Sopranos for my job. Like that literally was part of your life at one point. I mean, that's
it was
cool.
There's definitely some jobs where
yes.
the research can be a grind, and you're reading stuff that's not necessarily your cup of tea, but this was something I definitely would love to do, and I'm sure I'll go through it all a fourth time.
Well, I'm sure, and obviously you're one to know exactly what great, amazing, remarkable television looks like. What was your favorite Sopranos episode? Which one, when you were watching it, you're like, okay, that is it, that we should hang that in the Louvre, like that's a museum piece. Which one is that for you, Corey?
Oh, it's so hard to choose. I mean, my God, it really I could pick a few. I think obviously the Russian guy in the woods.
Yep. The Pine Barrens.
Buscemi directed is so brilliant. I think the episode where Christopher dies. I think it's really amazing. That whole last season was so amazing. I mean, what was incredible about the show was the arc of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
All the different facets that you saw of Tony, from seeing him in one family and then another, and then on the therapist couch.
Mm-hmm.
Those three sort of prisms through which to see this one character gave an opportunity for one of the richest, most complex characters in all of fiction, I think.
I think that is not an exaggeration, Corey Stoll. I definitely agree with you. And the crazy thing is, I just remember when The Sopranos first came out, it was on the heels of the De Niro, Billy Crystal film, Analyze This. And I honestly thought, well, I guess they're going to make a serious version of Analyze This. And then I realized, oh my God, this is, Godfather, Goodfellas. This is that great, and I cannot wait for The Many Saints of Newark coming out again on October 1st in theaters and on HBO Max. And what can you reveal? I know that this is the sort of stuff that is omerta, to use, I guess, the phrase. But what can you reveal for us as we're waiting here?
I mean,
Corey,
it takes place over the 8 to 10 year period, starting in the late 60s, going into the early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
and you get to see that world that Tony was yearning for from the pilot, where all the gangsters wore suits and there were no RICO laws, and you see the golden age, and you see that it really was not so golden. And I think David Chase and Alan Taylor and Lawrence Connor, who co-wrote the script, they did such a great job making a movie that really stands on its own. It really is just like a great gangster movie with all these new characters that you haven't seen before. And for the Uber fan, I think it'll be just so much fun and to revisit these characters and to get a sort of a new insight into these families.
Corey Stoll here on the Rich Eisen Show. He plays the role of Junior Soprano in The Many Saints of Newark, available in theaters and again on HBO Max on October 1st. And the prequel, what a genius idea from David Chase. But did you ever, at any point in time, pull him aside or just chit chat, have a quiet moment with him and ask him?
I know what you're gonna ask.
Yes, did the guy in the members only jean jackets whack Tony in the diner? Do you have any moments like that, Corey?
I knew very well that I wasn't going to get anywhere. with
you didn't even take the shot. You didn't even take the shot, huh? You didn't take the shot.
You know what? It's like I don't want to know. I think I've never had a emotional reaction to a piece of fiction like I did when the screen turned black at the end of this season 7. I was on the edge of my seat, my jaw on the floor, in this incredible state of suspension. The closest thing I think I've experienced to is maybe watching an amazing, watching sports. That level of engagement, and that's all. That's what more could you possibly ask for from a piece of fiction than to actually move you like that? I tend to think that he died, but I don't. If David Chase told me tomorrow that he didn't, it still would make that moment, 100% worth it, and be one of the most remarkable moments in television ever.
I wish I had that sort of reaction, Corey. I couldn't. I wasn't afforded it because my wife and everybody else that was at the watch party in my house thought that I forgot to pay the DirecTV bill when it all went black for as long as it did. I swear they all looked at me and they said, "What the hell's the matter with you?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, that's literally what happened to me. Oh my gosh.
I think that's not uncommon.
I know, right? So you had just mentioned sports. Are you a sports fan of any type? You're a native New Yorker? I'm not a huge sports fan just because I just never. My schedule is always so crazy. I can never keep up with anything, and then I lose track, and then I don't know who's playing. What about growing up? What about growing up in New York City?
Growing up in New York City. I mean, obviously, the Mets was formidable and formative experience for me. The Mets and then the Giants, and I was probably around 10 years old when those two teams were. Had their remarkable season.
You're talking about the Dwight Gooden Mets and the Bill Parcells, Phil Simms Giants. That's probably right around the 80s is what you're talking about right there.
So, that won my lifelong allegiance.
Okay. Mets Giants are usually not it. Usually from a certain era, it's like Mets Jets, Giants Yankees. Exactly. So you're a hybrid.
I know.
You're a hybrid. I know.
I'm a weirdo.
We could see that in your work. Hey, Corey, before I let you go, I got to ask you about your role of Mike Prince in Billions. You're terrific in it.
Thank you.
What is it like, locking horns in this show with Paul Giamatti and Damian Lewis in these scenes. It just is really intense for me sitting there. I wonder what it's like for you, what you're doing.
Oh, it's a blast. It's just like when you play tennis with somebody who's better than you. You get better. And the writing is so sharp. It's so smart. It's so muscular. So we just have a lot of fun. Especially those scenes where you have these gladiators.
Yeah.
Going head to head.
We having they don't give you those pop culture one-liner lines. I haven't heard many of them from your character. Normally,
they're coming.
Okay. All right. I look forward to it. Hey, Corey, thanks for the call. Really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see what you're cooking up with David Chase and the rest of the crew on the Many Saints of Newark. A big-time fan, and I appreciate the call.
Thanks a lot.
You got it. That's Corey Stoll, everybody, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. The Many Saints of Newark available in theaters and on HBO Max on October 1st, right here on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.